Gently place the chicken head first into the cone. The cone helps immobilize the chicken. Place index finger behind the head and thumb of the beak. Extend the neck so the jawline is exposed. You'll feel a hard piece of cartilage behind the jaw attachment. Here, you'll want to sever the jugular vein and carotid artery. Make a deep, firm slice, but do not cut off the head. Pull the head down firmly and allow the blood to drain. The bird will kick and jerk. Remain calm. This is a normal part of the process. The bird is unconscious and unaware of anything at this point. When the blood is completely drained and the bird is still, move on to the next step. The water temperature in your scalding tank should be around 135 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Remove the bird from the cone and hold it by the legs. Dunk the bird head first into the scalding tank, gently swirling it in the water both around and up and down. Make sure to get all the leg feathers in the water. Check the scald by rubbing your hands or fingers against the grain of the feathers on the leg and by plucking a large feather like a wing or a tail feather. If the feathers don't pluck easily, more time is needed. A scald that's too long will damage the skin, making it tear easily, and that affects the length of time the poultry can be stored, so don't scald too long. Follow the directions on your poultry plucking machine. In this demonstration, we are using a Featherman Pro Tub style poultry plucker. You can fit up to 4 or 5 chickens at one time. Hand plucking is cost-effective and recommended for small batches of birds. Before you break down the chicken, wash your hands and arms in the rinsing area thoroughly. Put on a new clean apron and make sure your cutting utensils are also clean. Rinse the chicken thoroughly inside and out. If there are any remaining feathers that were not plucked from the machine, carefully pluck them before proceeding to break down the carcass. First, we will cut the feet off. Hold the bird by its feet using the weight of the bird to straighten the legs. The body weight pulls down and you can see the kneecap. Make a quick cut across the top of the kneecap and just follow the curvature of the bone. Next, we'll cut off the head. Hold the head as the body pulls down and extends the neck. Cut the meat all the way around the neck. Then take your finger, bend the neck back, and pull to pop the vertebrae out, snapping the neck cleanly. We prefer not to use a cleaver because it often causes bone splinters and is unnecessary. Take the tip of your knife and make an incision at the base of the neck to open up the skin. You can either slit the skin all the way or make a long enough incision for your 2 fingers to fit through. You'll see a whitish membrane. That's the crop. These birds were correctly withdrawn from feed. If they were not correctly withdrawn, the crop would look like a golf ball. Loosen the crop from the skin. Pull the crop free of the body. Next to it, you'll find the trachea, which feels like a bendable part of a straw, and beside that is the esophagus, a soft pipe. Place your fingers behind them and loosen them all the way down to where they enter the body cavity and leave them hanging free of the body. Flip the bird over so that the chicken is lying on its back. In this position, the entrails are lying on the spine. Take your knife and make sure that it's parallel to the tabletop and make an incision right under the point of the breastbone. Make enough of a hole to allow 2 fingers in. Be careful not to cut the intestines. Place your fingers in and separate the intestines and the membrane from the abdominal wall. Take your fingers all the way down the spine on one side and then the other. Once the entrails are loosened, use your finger to hold the skin away from the intestines, creating space. Use the tip of your knife to slice the skin all the way to the tail. Repeat the same action of using your fingers to prevent the knife from cutting the intestines and carefully cut the skin around the vent on either side. Flip the bird over, make sure the rectum is away from the spine, and again, using your fingers to separate the intestines from the skin, use the end of the blade to separate the connective tissue. Hold the bird up using your finger in the neck hole to allow for a good grip. Gravity will cause the intestines to fall out of the cavity. Reach into the bird and run your hand along the sides of the ribs to loosen the inner membrane and pull the inner organs and entrails out. The loosened trachea, esophagus, and crop should also come out. Rinse the chicken thoroughly inside and out. It is optional to remove the tail, but you must remove the oil or preen gland or it can ruin the taste of the meat. Make a cut above the gland and cut all the way down to the bone. Slide the knife along the bone ending at the tail. Make sure there is no yellow glandular tissue left on the bird. If you choose to cut off the tail, cut the connective tissue between the tail and the body and then pull the tail loose. By cutting the tail, you would also be removing the oil gland. You may choose to keep your chicken whole or break it down further to sell the chicken by parts. Place the chicken on its back with the breastbone facing up. To fillet the breast from the breastbone, use a sharp, flexible knife. Start along one side of the bone. Slice as close to the bone as possible, following the bone's curvature to separate the breast meat until the final point of connection, which will be just below the wing. Hold the breast up and slice the skin between the breast piece and the wing. Then pull the breast out and cut along the natural seam, slicing the tendons between the breast and the wing. Once the breasts have been removed, the wings are easy to separate from the body by cutting along the natural seams. To remove the leg quarters, pull the legs back from the body and you'll notice a ball joint at the hip beside the flank muscle. Work your way around the ball joint and you'll feel the leg dislodge. Pull the leg back and slice the leg off. If you would like to break down the leg quarter further, find the knuckle separating the drumstick and the thigh and slice right through it. Give everything a final rinse with the hose inside and out. Place the cleaned and processed chicken into your ice and water-filled cooler. Make sure ice and water fill the body cavity and that the chicken is completely submerged. After chilling, remove the bird from the ice water, lay on paper towels, and pat it dry. You can then store the bird in a large 1 to 2 gallon Ziploc bag in the refrigerator or vacuum seal it for freshness.